Before the story begins, ask yourself, what would you do if a child went missing, and the only one who could find her was a dog no one believed in anymore? If this story touches your heart, like this video to honor loyalty that never quits. Share it with someone who still believes in silent heroes. Save it for the day you need to remember that courage doesn't always come with words, and subscribe to stay close to more true stories where hope runs on 4 legs. The cornfield stretched for miles, golden, motionless, too quiet for late summer. Somewhere deep inside, where the stalks grew wild and the sun barely reached the ground, a girl crouched, barefoot and crying silently. Her name was Arya, 7 years old, missing for over 12 hours. She had wandered away from a family picnic chasing a butterfly, then realized she didn't know the way back. Now, her voice was gone from shouting, her throat raw, her body scratched by thorns and fear. She wasn't sure if anyone was still looking. Then, a sound. Not wind, not footsteps. A sniff. Rhythmic. Focused. Closer. Arya froze. Branches parted. And there he was, big, black and tan, eyes like gold coins in the shadows. Titan, a retired German shepherd canine, discarded, forgotten, unwanted, until now. He stepped forward, lowered his head, and gently touched his nose to her knee. Arya gasped, then whispered, "Did you find me?" Titan didn't answer. He just sat beside her, because sometimes just showing up is the beginning of saving a life. Arya was the kind of child who never needed much. She collected feathers, talked to dandelions, listened to the wind like it was telling her secrets. But since her dad left, she'd grown quieter. Since the move to her aunt's house in rural Kansas, she barely spoke at all. She missed city noise, the hum of buses, the smell of pavement after rain. Now, everything was too wide, too still, too empty. At school, her voice disappeared. She didn't raise her hand, didn't join games. The counselor said it was adjustment trauma. Her aunt said it was just a phase. Only her sketchbook told the truth. Page after page, a girl in the middle of tall grass, eyes wide, alone. When the family reunion picnic happened, Arya wandered. Too many people, too many loud voices. No one noticed her step beyond the trees. The butterfly wasn't what she was chasing. It was the quiet. But when the quiet turned into panic, she realized no one knew where she was, and worse, she didn't know how to be found. They used to call him Titan the Wall, unbreakable, unshakable, a force of instinct wrapped in fur and scars. For 6 years, Titan served in urban search and rescue. Collapsed buildings, runaways, flood zones. He didn't flinch at sirens, didn't wait for commands. He found people, fast, always. His handler, Officer Joel Raines, once said, "He doesn't track scent, he tracks pain." Then came the earthquake deployment, A 3-story apartment. A missing toddler. Titan went in first. No hesitation. He pulled her out minutes before the stairwell collapsed. Everyone clapped. Titan didn't care. He only looked for Joel. But Joel was gone. A second collapse. 1 step too late. Titan never recovered. They tried pairing him with new handlers. He refused. Stopped working. Stopped looking. Declared unfit for duty. He was scheduled for euthanasia. Until a junior vet tech faked a signature and put him on a transport van to the country. He was dropped at an overgrown farm as a watchdog. No one watched him. He didn't care. Until the storm came, and with it, a scent he hadn't felt in years. Panic, salt tears, fallen leaves, child. Titan stood and started walking. Arya didn't run. She didn't scream. She simply stared at the giant dog in front of her. So still, so calm, like he had appeared out of the earth itself. Titan stood, watching her. Then he turned, took a step, stopped, looked back. An invitation. Arya rose slowly. Her legs trembled. Her shoes were soaked with mud. Her hands shook as she reached for his fur, just for balance. He didn't flinch. Step by step, she followed him. Not because she knew where he was going, but because he looked like he did. Titan sniffed the wind, tilted his head, turned left. Every so often, he'd pause, wait for her, nudge her forward when she slowed. He didn't rush. He didn't lead too far. He just stayed close. An hour passed, then 2. Dusk began to slip in, and just as Arya's knees gave way beneath her, she saw it. A figure at the tree line, a flashlight beam, a voice crying her name like a prayer. Arya! Her aunt. Arya didn't respond. She just collapsed into Titan's side, whispering, "He found me." The ambulance came fast, lights flashing, radios crackling, voices overlapping. But Arya wouldn't let go of Titan's fur. Not when they lifted her. Not when they asked for her name. Not when they told her she was safe. "He stays," she whispered. "He stays." No one argued. At the hospital, he lay curled at the foot of her bed, head up, eyes scanning every corner. When the vet came to check him, Arya wrapped her arms around him. "He's not sick. He's just tired." The next morning, a man arrived in uniform, broad shoulders, a quiet voice, Deputy Mason Trent. He approached slowly, nodding to Titan. "I know this dog." Arya sat up. "He found me." Trent crouched beside Titan, brushing the fur behind his ear. "Yeah, he does that." He looked at Arya. "He was a search dog, one of the best, but when his partner died, he disappeared." Arya traced a finger over Titan's old scar. "He didn't disappear. He was just waiting." Trent nodded. "Waiting for someone to remind him why he was made." Arya looked up. "Can he stay with me?" The deputy paused. "Legally, he's department property, but unofficially, he goes where he wants now." Titan laid his head across Arya's lap. Decision made. It was Deputy Trent who brought the file. An old manila folder with faded print. K9059, Titan, stamped, retired, decommissioned. He handed it to Arya's aunt at the kitchen table. He's technically not supposed to be active, but there's no legal reason he can't stay, if you're willing. Arya sat nearby, drawing. Titan's face already sketched 5 different ways. Sleeping, watching, walking, waiting. Her aunt hesitated. He's big, intense. She's delicate. Deputy Trent smiled. That's why it works. He doesn't treat her like she's breakable. That night, Arya sat beside Titan under the porch light. They say you're broken. She whispered it like a secret. He didn't move. Me too. She pressed her forehead to his. But I think broken things find each other and fix each other quietly. The next morning, Titan waited at the door before she even got dressed. Leash in his mouth, tail still. You want to walk? He blinked once. Arya smiled. They walked in silence, but everything inside them was changing. It happened on a Thursday. Arya and Titan were walking the dirt trail behind the school like they did every afternoon. She carried her sketch pad. He carried the weight of her silence. That day, she was humming. A song she hadn't heard since her father left. Then, a scream from deeper in the woods. Arya froze. Titan didn't. He bolted instantly, without hesitation. Arya dropped her sketch pad and ran after him. They reached a clearing behind the school's fence. A boy, maybe 5, trapped beneath a fallen branch. His foot twisted, tears streaking through the dirt on his face. No adults, no phones, just panic. Titan slid under the branch, using his shoulder to wedge space between the bark and the boy's body. Arya grabbed a stick, pulled, pushed, cried. It's okay, she whispered. He's done this before. And he had. Titan pressed, shifted, lifted, with one final push. The boy rolled free. Moments later, staff arrived, alerted by another child who had heard Arya's scream. Paramedics checked the boy, but everyone looked at Titan, still, mud-covered, chest heaving. Arya walked to him, kneeled, wrapped her arms around his neck. You don't just find people, Titan. You remind them they matter. The story spread fast. Retired police dog rescues child behind local school. Local news ran it with a photo. Titan, muddy and regal. Arya, her hand resting on his shoulder, eyes braver than ever. At school, kids stopped whispering about the quiet girl. They started sitting beside her, drawing dogs, telling her their own fears, like secrets they finally trusted someone to hold. Teachers noticed. One pulled Arya aside and said gently, "You're not invisible anymore." Arya blinked. "I never was," she said. "People just didn't know where to look." That weekend, the mayor held a small ceremony. They gave Titan a new tag, K9 Honorary, Lifetime Duty, Companion and Guardian. Arya pinned it to his collar herself. He didn't flinch, didn't move, just leaned into her hand as if to say, "This is where I belong." That night, for the first time in months, Arya slept with her window open. No fear, no flashlight, just the sound of soft breathing at the foot of her bed, and the comfort of knowing someone was always listening. By autumn, Arya and Titan had become something of a legend. The rescue pair, the librarian called them. Once a week, they visited the first-grade reading group. Titan lay beside the circle of tiny shoes and crinkled books, while Arya read aloud with a voice that no longer trembled. She didn't just read. She told stories. Stories about brave animals, about kids who got lost but weren't forgotten, about how silence isn't emptiness, it's space for someone to come find you. Parents began requesting her visits. Teachers asked her to write. Her drawings were displayed in the school office. Titan standing between shadows and sunlight. A girl with wild hair, no longer lost. Deputy Trent dropped off a letter one afternoon from the state. Therapy companion certification, approved, Titan and Arya. Arya held the paper with both hands. "He's not a pet," she said. "He's my partner." Titan nuzzled her hand, because he agreed, and because deep down, he'd never wanted to be anything else. Arya used to walk with her head down. Now she walked hallways like they were hers to protect. She led assemblies on emotional safety, not with flashy words, but with honest ones. She'd stand beside Titan and say, "Some fears don't make noise, but they still deserve to be heard." Other kids began sharing their stories, some about nightmares, some about loneliness, some about just needing someone to sit beside them and stay. Titan did that. Arya taught it. One afternoon, a boy from another school ran up during an outreach visit. He hugged Titan tightly. "You're the one who saved that girl." Arya smiled. "Actually, I think he saved both of us." That night, she added a new page to her journal, a sketch of Titan sleeping, and a sentence below it. "He didn't come into my life to fix me. He came to stand beside me while I fixed myself." And that was what real rescue looked like. Some dogs are trained to find people, but the rare ones, they find what people have lost, their voice, their trust, their way back home. Titan wasn't brought into Arya's life to be a hero. He just showed up when no one else could, and stayed when no one else did. He didn't fix her. He reminded her she wasn't broken. And Arya, she didn't grow brave overnight. She grew brave beside someone who never asked her to hurry. They didn't rescue each other in one moment. They did it slowly, steadily. With every quiet day they chose not to walk away. Because sometimes real courage doesn't come when the world is watching. It comes when no one is, and someone still stays.